Most of us know how to buy a car, and you probably know how to buy a house. But do you know how to buy a horse? I have with me Ben Ennison, who has 40 years of equine experience and who is a partner of Western Bloodstock, the largest cutting horse auction in the world. Hey, Ben, thanks for coming out to the ranch with us.
Well, Sawyer, it's my pleasure to be here with you and your family, and I think this is going to be an educational event for a lot of people. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Hopefully so. My brothers Hayden and Gavin have some questions for you.
Well, we'll try to answer them. Hi, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
Ben, how important is bone structure when buying a horse?
Well, yeah, when bone structure is everything. If you don't have it right, you better not buy that horse. I mean, it's got to be right. I could point out a few things for you. We'll come back to the head in a minute, but just starting with the neck and the way it comes out of this horse, it comes out just right. This is a nice 3-year-old horse here, incidentally. He's gentle and he's very cooperative, but his neck comes out of his shoulder just right. You don't want a horse's head up like that. It's pretty hard to do. Might do it in another breed, another event besides a quarter horse, this being a quarter horse. But a good sloping shoulder like this horse has got, and I'd say this fits perfectly on this horse, this neck. You get back to the wither. The wither is important. You see this wither bone here? The saddle's going to set right astride that. Very important that you have a wither on a horse. Then you don't have to just pull him up and gird him too tight to keep a saddle on him. So that's where the saddle's going to set. Then you get down into the front legs. Good, strong bones. For a small horse, this is a small horse, and he's still got good bone. So I'd say a horse like this is probably going to stay sound for a long time. We get on back to the back. This back over the loin here, I'd say that's just about the way you'd want it. There's room enough for a saddle. I don't like to see a lot of extra length in the back, say back to here before the hip starts. I'd say that'd be too long in the back. But this horse is fine. He is okay. A good sloping hip, didn't mean to crowd you out, but a good sloping hip here that comes off, it's just great. Right on down the muscling in the leg, and again you got that little curve in the hock, and I bet you this horse can really stop when it gets down to training. And a good strong bone behind also. So I'd say bone structure is A-okay on this horse here. It would sure suit me.
Ben, is there anything else to look for in a horse, like color, for an example?
This is a sorrel horse here, incidentally, which is one of my favorite colors. A lot of people that's here today probably prefer red roans or blue roans, and then a bay is an awful good horse. A gray is a popular color. There's some other things besides color that are a lot more important. The eye is all important. This eye has got to be sitting on the side of his head where he can see behind him. From this position here, this horse can see back there. That's just the way their eyes are made. Ears are important. And probably the horseman here knows that every time a horse looks, he looks with his ears like that. And this is a good small fox ear, and I just like that. If I was advising somebody on a horse and they were interested in a 3-year-old gelding, I'd say, yeah, this horse would probably do. Now, having said that, you got to be ready to take care of it when you carry it home.
Well, Gavin, I think we ought to buy him.
No, Hayden, I think we should buy a Harley.
A Harley? Do you know how much gasoline costs this day and time?
Thanks, Ben, kids. That's some great information on how to buy a horse. But I'm going to tell you right now, boys, there'll be no Harley.
Oh, Mom, come on, let them have a Harley. Everyone needs a Harley.
Oh, absolutely not. But
yes,
everyone needs to spice up their home. And with me, Ronnie Campbell is, you're the best, Ronnie. You have taken just literally nothing, doors and old things, and turned it into something beautiful, from modern homes to restaurants. You're very well known. How did you get your start?
Actually, I never had the funds to have someone to do it for me, so I just got to watch and do it myself. And I spent a lot of time in Mexico with those people, and they're very creative, crafty, and I learned a lot from those people. And what you do on a door like this is a very inexpensive door, and you take a little piece of chain, and then you take your frustration out.
Oh!
If you're upset, you can whip it, beat it up. You're not going to hurt it. You cannot make any mistakes. Take your hammer, peck around on the edges, and you can do that. Get you some dark paint, put in these holes, lightly sand it, come over it with 2 or 3 different colors, and leave the patina coming out, and it's perfect.
You know, tell us how you get a hold of this kind of stuff. I mean, this is just going to decorate the door, and I noticed that you also had some that were sprayed where you made it look very...
You take these Clivo's nails and the stars, and you take them, and then you take paint, or you can rust them with muriatic acid or Clorox, but you just take them and lightly paint them and get a little on your fingers, and then you take a rag and rag it off and leave it like that, and then you have the color on them, and you can go 3 to 5 different colors on that also. It all depends on what you want to do. And on these nails, after you get them all painted and cleaned, and you got a little on the door, which that'll be great. You take these.
I think anything goes, right?
Oh, yeah, you cannot make a mistake.
And then you pound these in.
Yeah, and then
we're going to have a $3,000 looking door
and then
when
you
it's all
put
set
your
up.
nails, you just drive them in, and then you've got the different colors on them. You can make your own designs. You can either use turquoise is big now in cracks. You can get you some turquoise and put around on it, or if you don't like that, then you can just take old rusty metal, latches, anything. So you can just go in and do just about anything you'd like to do with a door, and then that way you can't make any mistakes. That's the beauty part of this. That's the reason I can go in and do this, because whatever you want to do, it's not wrong.
Wow.
So that's,
okay, well, I've got 5 doors for you to get started on.
Oh, good.
Okay,
I can
Ronnie?
get that done
Thank you so much.
before lunch.
Lots of tips that way.
Yeah,
Stay with
thank
us.
you.
We've got a whole lot more with Country Living with Country Legends.
Thank you.
You know, Barry Corbin, I'm such a fan of yours, and you're so recognizable. I mean, from feature films, Broadway, television series, but there's a side of you that a lot of people don't know. You have a real passion and love for horses.
Well, I grew up on horseback, you know, and then I was in New York for about 15 years and never got on a horse. And I got out to California and started trying to mess with these cutting horses. Took me a while, but I finally got to where I could do all right.
Now, wait a minute. I know better than that, because you've been in a lot of charities, and you're a tough competitor with cutting horses. Was there any other breed that you had a desire for, or was that just that bloodline?
I just like cutting horses. I was probably 50 before I got on a good horse, and ever since then I can't ride a bad horse. I don't like to ride a bad horse. You know, a lot of people. I went out one time and they offered to rent me one at a riding stable, and I got on the thing and I picked up the reins. It did that. I got off and said, no, I'm not going to do that.
What was it I read something about you never had to worry, horses don't know that you're famous?
Now, horses don't know what to do for a living. You just be nice to them, feed them, treat them right, and they're going to naturally want to treat you right.
Now, I've seen you cut on a horse that you own, Smitty. He's got to have some age on him now, doesn't he?
He's 24.
Oh, my.
He's getting up there.
So turned out to pasture?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. I go out there and mess with him, but I don't really ride him much anymore.
Well, you know, we've got Grady Spears here. How about some grub? You hungry?
I'm hungry.
Okay, let's do it. You know, Barry, we both probably can agree, we love horses.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have them, sometimes things happen. I've been hurt a few times, but you took a spill.
Yeah, it's been about, I guess 12 years ago. My cutting horse, we were working inside, and there was a puddle that I didn't see. We were working a calf, and it turned around and went back real fast, and then hit that little damp spot, and his feet went out from under him. He went down so fast that I couldn't turn my foot in. I had my foot turned out.
Wow.
So it mashed my foot and broke my leg in a few places. They took me to a little emergency clinic. The doctor there x-rayed it and said, well, the only thing I can do is cut it off halfway to the knee. We need to get you to a trauma center. I said, well, call an ambulance and make sure they got morphine. So they did. And I got in there and had a few surgeries. And then the tabloids got news of it and said I'd fallen off my horse. And somebody on the talk show said, "Did you fall off your horse?" I said, "No, the horse fell with me. There's a difference. It's real hard if a horse falls not to go with him. You can't sit up in the air and wait for him to get up."
You know, our family, the Maori Ranch, has a collection, a library of many of the movies that you've starred in, and you have played in hundreds. You know, I think of The Magnificent Seven and Urban Cowboy, and we remember you as Roscoe and Lonesome Dove, and the list goes on and on. But for you, Barry, what was your favorite role in which movie?
Gosh, I couldn't say. I mean, I've some of the worst ones I've enjoyed more than some of the best ones. You know, it's the process, the working process that I like, and a lot of times I don't even see the finished product because I'm scared to. But I just love the process of working.
Now, you went to Texas Tech University
Tech, yeah.
and got started in the craft there. Was that a passion already for you to develop your lifestyle as a actor?
I think it was from the time I was about 7. I think I decided that's what I wanted to do, and that's an odd thing for a kid in Lamesa, Texas to want to do. I'm probably the only one from there that ever even thought he could do it. My mother said, "Well, you can't do that. Nobody in our family's ever done that." I said, "Well, I'm going to give it a try." She said, "Well, at least get some kind of an education so you can do something else to fall back on." And I said, "Well, if I do
All
that..."
parents say that, though, don't they?
Yeah, but if I do that, then I'm going to fall back on it. So doing what I do is a whole lot better than loading trucks or picking cotton. So those are my alternatives, you know. So I ended up sticking with it and worked out.
Ended up in New York for a while.
I was in New York for about 14 years.
That's country atmosphere.
Well, yeah, I fit in real good up there. Everybody's trying to get me to talk like them. And on stage I would, but off stage, no.
Feature films, off-Broadway, either one of the two that you like better than the other?
No, it's the same process. The movies pay better, but I think my feeling about it is if you've got experience on stage, it can't help but make you better on film.
Well, congratulations on the Best Picture of the Year, No Country for Old Men. That scene with Tommy Lee Jones and the dialogue had me just, because I wasn't sure where that bad guy was coming from, you know?
Well, you can't stop what's coming.
No, this is true.
That's what I told him. You can't stop what's coming. That's vanity.
Well, you know, we have this country living with country legends, and Barry, you are truly our country legend. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Kelly.
Welcome back to Country Living with Country Legends. You know, if there's anyone that has a real appreciation and really understands the great taste of Texas food, it's world-renowned cook, got to get that right, not chef, Grady Spears. Grady, thanks for joining us. What an entourage of food here. And, you know, outdoor grilling is so popular right now.
Well, I mean, this is, we're going to do everything today on a grill. All this is Texas related or Texas-based food that we're going to do today. Some chili rellenos stuffed with some cachota cheese, some grilled corn with some lime butter and some cotija cheese, and chicken fried steak.
Wow, so a little bit on the spicy side.
No, not too bad. These
Not too bad.
poblanos are not very spicy, actually. If you use the longer green chilies, they're a little spicier. These have a little more flavor and they're a little milder.
Okay.
So they go great with a good creamy cheese. So.
Can you talk and work at the same time?
Sure.
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Sure, I can.
Go, fire away.
Okay, first of all, we'll start off with the chilies, all right? I've got, these are going to be chili rellenos. This is a poblano, and I've taken and I've roasted this over a fire. So we blacken the skin, and then what you do is you just peel the skin off.
So you've blistered it.
Yeah, we blistered the skin. You just peel the skin off then. And these actually you can freeze after you peel the skin off of them. These will freeze really well.
Wow.
So then you take and make a slit in it. And I've got some cheese right here. And if you can't find the cachota, you can use some jack cheese. But
Is that a mild cheese?
It is kind of a mild, creamy cheese. Really good cheese. And then I'm just going to throw it in a hot skillet. And obviously the cast iron skillet's sitting on top of the grill, so we're going to do everything outside, and we'll let the cheese melt. So those are the chili rellenos, 2 ingredients, the chilies and the cheese.
Okay.
Next thing, I've got some corn over here, some good fresh corn. And you know, corn you really don't have to cook. I mean, you can eat it raw if it's good and fresh. But I'm going to put this on the grill for just a little bit, so I'm going to roll it in a little bit of lime butter.
Now that better be Iowa corn. That's the best kind.
I think it's Texas
right, everybody?
corn, actually.
Iowa corn's the best kind. Woo!
But I'm going to take and actually roll the corn in a little lime butter, and then I'm going to throw it on the grill and throw a couple of limes on with it. And while those are cooking, so we've got the corn on the grill, we've got the chili rellenos heating, the cheese is going to melt. Next thing we're going to do is make some chicken fried steaks.
Okay, let's talk about steaks. You're big with meat. I mean, you know, I love your cookbooks, especially one with that, using Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, well, Dr. Pepper's Texas, you know. And actually what happens is the Dr. Pepper's got a lot of sugar in it. So the sugar is left on the meat. I usually use not primal cuts, but things like flank steak or skirt steak, and I'll marinate the stuff in Dr. Pepper.
Which is really a cheaper steak.
Well, I don't know if it's a cheaper steak.
Skirt
It's just a different cut of meat. I mean, it's a really good buttery cut.
But you can make a filet mignon. I've tried it.
Well, I don't know if I can make a filet mignon out of a skirt steak, but I can make it tender. So
this looks great.
Okay, so we got the corn on the grill. Next thing, I took some ribeyes, just really thin ribeye steaks, and I pounded them out. And we've got some buttermilk, some eggs, and some beer in the batter. And the beer kind of keeps the batter light. So I'm going to take and pound these out. I'm going to dip it in the buttermilk and the eggs and the beer first, and then a little flour. And I put a little salt and pepper in the flour.
Okay.
So, and then back in, and then cover it with flour.
Now, you've opened up a lot of restaurants, Grady, but you have 2 you've just recently opened that are yours.
We do. We own Dutch's on University in Fort Worth, and it's a hamburger place. We're actually taking the cattle all the way through. So we're feeding our own cattle, grinding the cattle down, taking
from beginning to end.
Beginning to end.
Wow.
So what I'm going to do now, I've got some peanut oil heating up, and I'm going to drop those in the deep fryer. And these won't take long. You know, these are really thin cuts of meat. So these will take maybe 3 to 4 minutes at the most. And you don't want, you know, if the oil's too cold, you're going to have a greasy chicken fried steak. If it's too hot, you're going to burn the outside before the inside's cooked.
So it has to be just right.
So it's got to be just right.
Okay, what do you
need? A pair of tongs would be great, or this would be great.
Okay.
But 375 degrees on the oil. And you can use a candy thermometer if you want. But
how'd you get your start?
Well, I grew up wanting to be a cowboy my whole life, and I was working for a cattle broker from the time, I guess, early on in high school, and graduated from high school, and went to college for about 6 weeks and quit, and couldn't make it in the cattle business, so I started bussing tables, and make a long story short, I ended up cooking because I went out to West Texas to run a little bitty restaurant, and the chef walked out on me.
So had you always liked to cook? I mean, you had a little bit of that knack, or you just got thrown into it?
So I've just gone from one end of the beef business to the other.
Wow.
So these things are about ready to go.
And why is it that you don't like to be called a chef?
Chef's kind of a fancy word. I'm a simple cook. You know, I cook very wholesome, very simple, you know, very simple but kind of bold flavors. Everything. If you're on a diet, you probably don't want to eat my food. But there's a chicken fried steak, and if we actually took one of these chili rellenos.
Oh my goodness! And you have 5 books, and you have one that just came out right here. I think it is
6
the
now.
Texas
Actually, this one's
Cowboy
the 6th.
Kitchen.
And,
great recipes.
So
really cool.
Photographs are great. They're all from the Irwin Smith collection at the Amon Carter.
Oh, that's great.
Taken back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So it's a great combination of
Don't set
historical
that down,
stuff.
Barry Corbin. Come here. We've been this is his.
We'll get a little corn
goodness.
and maybe some cotija cheese on top of the corn and
Barry, you're going to founder. Look at that. Huh?
Oh, my
pretty
goodness.
simple and all done on the grill.
I want to bite. Very good.
That cheese is good. It's actually a little
Great.
salty, so I didn't salt the corn.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That looks great.
What's later?
Maybe some dessert.
Cool.
Well, I'm going to sit down and eat.
Let's go.
Good job, everybody.
How many horses are you working tomorrow, Rick?
Hey, Dad, I'm hungry.
Me too, Sawyer.
I think we gotta buy that horse.
No, let's get a Harley.
Not getting a Harley.
Dad. I said no.
See you next time.